And we're back. Welcome to the latest episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic, and first and foremost, before I get started here, I'm looking at my levels, just making sure everything is not too loud and you guys in. I think it's okay, but you guys will let me know if it is, whether I'm too loud, whether the music is too loud, etc., etc. But what's happening, everybody? And actually, speaking of which, man, as I rolled that Terrible Towel, I like to call the theme music, I might switch that up. You know, I kind of want to give us the feeling of when I was at, one of the games, and that's a live video for you guys, in case you can't tell that was a video. That was a video I recorded while at the Steelers game. So I thought it was a fitting intro for Terrible Towel Tuesday, but I don't know. I think I might have something else coming soon. We shall see. But how's everybody doing this evening, man? The draft is over, so we got some things to talk about tonight. And let me let you guys know right off the bat, tonight will be about you guys. Yeah, you all. You guys and gals, all about you guys. We will be taking calls, and I will be taking calls and calls and calls. And of course, be mindful of time, be quick in and out, but I really want to hear from you guys. That's why I titled it Steeler Fans React to the 2021 Draft Picks. That is the theme of the show. And, while we wait for a few more people to get up in here, give everybody a chance to get in the queue, then what we'll do is we'll talk about, a couple of other topics, a few other things I just want to breeze over really quick. And then again, the floor is yours. So, all right, let's take a look. First and foremost, let's shout outs to the chat. We always got to do that, right? What's up to my man, Big Dro? Big Dro was the first one in here. Saw you early before the show started. So what's up to you? Rail Facts, Vista Light, Nadrews, Mo Swagger, Mr. Winningham. How you doing this night, sir? Daredevil, C. Antoine Hill. Hello, Miss Lanisha. How you doing tonight? Corey Foreman, Y. Diggy, Ollie Howard, Jordan Mid, Michael Garman, Lydell Dorsey, all sports all the time. I love that name. Pat Covington Jr. Hope you don't mind me calling you Pat, man, but in case you do, I'll say your full name as well. Patrick Covington Jr. How you doing, man? Steelers Nation 412. Can't get better than that as far as the name. My good brother Kenyon in the building like always. Jay Waller. Who else we got really quick, man? Then we'll dive into. Hello, Miss Debbie. How you doing? The first lady of the chat. She is the godmother. Can't say godfather, but she is the godmother of the ladies of the chat. Solarverse and what was that? Mac for you 2K6. Okay, what's up? I don't think I've seen that name before. What's up, Deron? Haven't seen you in a while. And Leonard Green, and we'll end it with Trey. Let's get into it. So where do I want to start, man? There's quite a few things to talk about. Let me just pull up my annotations and see where it is that I want to begin. Let's see. Well, I think the first thing that we can address here, let me see. What do I want to hit first? All right, I got it. Let's talk about Terrell Edmunds. No, I'm gonna hold Edmunds for a second because I want to allow a few more people to get in here. Let's talk about Big Al, Little Al, as I call him, Villanueva, signing with the Ravens, 2-year deal. From what I saw, I believe they said it's $8 million, fully guaranteed. Listen, shout outs to him. Hey, I'll even throw him a round of applause. How about that? Round of applause to you, Lil Al Villanueva. Now, I jokingly call him Little Al, man, because, as big as this guy is, what was he, 6'8", 6'9", 300 plus, I felt like he should never have gotten pushed around. But, sometimes when you're that tall and, there's nothing you can do about leverage excuse me, guys. Nothing you can do about leverage and things of that nature. Sometimes like they say, the lowest man wins, And, Big Al just kind of started turning into Little Al. Nobody was really fearing him, I don't think. He wasn't as secure as he once was. And again, some of that is age and attrition. But like I said, some of that also is the technique and the competition that you're facing off against. But, needless to say, we all know it was time for a rebranding or a refacing, if you will, of the offensive line, however we choose to do it. I'm not going to sit here and act like we got the best tackles in the world, especially at left tackle, to replace him. TBD. If Chooks is to be the guy, we have not seen him at left tackle. He played left tackle in college. We shall see. However, I will say this. Look, do I fear him going to the Ravens? I do not. It is expected, and I was wrong, actually, on the previous show, maybe 2 shows ago, when I said he would be the left tackle. I totally forgot about Ronnie Staley. Clearly, he's going to be the guy. I think he's battling an injury. So, from what it appears to be is Villanueva will have the opportunity to play, maybe fill in at left tackle. But obviously, when Staley is back, he will be the left tackle. And it's expected that Lil Al will be the right tackle. So, very, very interesting. That's very, very interesting and very, very intriguing there. Hey, who knows, man? Maybe he'll turn into somewhat of a powerful run blocker. I don't know. We shall see. With the scheme that the Ravens run, I don't know. Like I said, we'll see. But at the end of the day, he doesn't scare me. I don't feel any kind of way that he signed with a rival. I mean, listen, at this point in his career, if you can get $8 million fully guaranteed and you still want to play some football, why not? It's a business, right? So those are just my thoughts on it, man. Nothing to be worried about. Sometimes when players from your team go to the your own division, you're a little concerned. But in this regard, I'm not. Not as much as, and I won't even say concerned, but not as much as I would pay more attention to Mike Hilton, because we know what Mike Hilton brings to the table. Shout out to C. Antoine Hill. Let me interrupt myself, man. Thank you for the donation, and let me read your comment, and then I'll get back to what I was saying about Mike Hilton. He says, I don't know if you got my DM, but I talked to my homegirl D, and she would like to bring you on her show on IG. Just a thought. Let you know. No, I actually didn't see that. Did you send it to me on Facebook? If you did, I'll definitely dive into that and reply there. We'll see if we can make that happen. We'll talk about it. But back to what I was saying about Mike Hilton. Here's the interesting thing about him. We know what he brings to the table. And yeah, he's a nice run defender. And, so things of that nature would concern me a little more than Villanueva going to the Ravens. And I'm not even concerned about Hilton. We know Hilton. We know what he is and we know what he isn't. I'm sure we'll be able to play against his weaknesses. So that's kind of how I feel. It's not like, your top dog. It's not like Le'Veon Bell going to the AFC North when he left us. It's not like Antonio Brown going to the AFC North when he left us. You know what I mean? So at this juncture, man, the way I feel about it, whatever. Shout outs to Villanueva. I'm not going to look at him as an enemy and nothing like that. It is what it is. Okay? Let's go out and bust him like we plan to bust everybody else. Point blank, period. But all right, man. Let's get to the next topic here, and I guess it's about time. Where we want to go? Let's talk a little bit about JuJu. JuJu made some early remarks. I think he did an interview, but it's surfacing online, it's floating around, basically talking about Matt Canada. And don't quote me to officially quote me, but JuJu was really basically saying, he made a statement saying that even in the first 2 weeks of install from Matt Canada's offense, he could see the differences. He could see the changes. He basically said it's a lot of motions. Hey, we should know that. Why? We saw a little bit of that sprinkled in already with Matt Canada being there. And, think about how we utilized Chase Claypool and such. So we saw a little bit about, a little bit of that early. Kind of went away from it later in the season. Kenyon touched on that on one of the shows we did during the draft. He touched on that as well. He basically has told us all what we can expect from Matt Canada. And if you guys have done your own research and kind of looked at his forte, what he brings to the table. You know, if you go back and look at what he did at Maryland, man, you talk about motions. That one particular video, and I showed it on one of these episodes. I just don't remember which one it was. Forgive me for that. But I remember showing that clip, and it was so much movement. I mean, what he was doing was beyond motion. It was literally shifts. You know, you line up like this, and then they shift, and they lined up a different way, and then they shift the whole right side, and they line up on the left. So I don't know if it's going to be to that degree, but that gets me excited. And it definitely gets me excited to hear, you know, a current player, which, of course, you know, he's going to say that in public, but still. It gets me excited to hear JuJu say, man, just from what I'm seeing just in the first, you know, in the last couple of weeks of the install of the game plan, wow. So if you think about that, you think about the talent that we have, even in JuJu. I know some people don't like him, but whatever. With JuJu, with Deontay Johnson, with Ray McCloud if he sticks, you know, and Chase Claypool, obviously, and we'll see who emerges as the fourth option as far as the receivers. You know, we'll see if we can kind of rejuvenate James Washington, or like I said, is it going to be Ray McCloud? Is it going to be somebody else? Steelers didn't draft a wide receiver, so, you know, if you're in that department, even a James Washington, even a Ray McCloud, you might be, you know, having a little bit of comfort right now, right? Your position is kind of secured. So we'll see. One caveat, like Kenyon said, Ben Roethlisberger can't fully run the Matt Canada offense. So we'll have to see what type of version of it is to see how it all unfolds. And who knows? Maybe we infuse some packages where, you know, Dobbs comes in there and does a couple things, or Dwayne Haskins. I don't know. But to hear that there's changes already on the horizon makes me feel good. What else? Okay, we'll get into the Terrell Edmunds situation really quick. So the Steelers have officially declined the fifth-year option of Terrell Edmunds. I don't know if this comes as a surprise to anybody. I personally thought they would have picked it up. And, you know, I think I said that, last week? One of those shows, I've quoted in saying they're going to pick it up. My reason being that he had been consistent. He may not have turned into the playmaker that some of us want him to be, which he isn't that, so you have to accept it. But he has been a consistent player. You know, I think he has improved year after year. To what level, you know, that's debatable. Some people had different expectations of him, but I think he's a solid contributor. They're definitely in the run game, definitely in the box. And if you kind of see the situation they were in when they had to pick up Dupree's fifth-year option, I thought, just based off of those metrics, that maybe Terrell Edmunds would have gotten his. But then you could also use the same argument and you say, well, look at Artie Burns. They didn't pick up his. So it all depends on how you guys view it as a fan base. Do you think that Edmunds was more on the Artie Burns side of improving and or not improving, or is he more on a Dupree, you know, trajectory? Not saying completely apples to apples, but do you think he was starting to improve and, you know, up to this point? Again, I thought they might have picked it up, and it just makes it very interesting now that, you know, going into 2022, we're probably going to be looking for a strong safety. It makes the drafting of Trey Norwood a lot more interesting. You know, not necessarily saying he's a strong, but we know Tomlin even announced him as a Swiss Army knife. He's played safety, he's played nickel, he's played corner. We'll see. We'll see. But either way, it definitely puts safety in play. You know, or, you know, are they looking to do an extension with him? I don't know. It just, to me, it seems like at this point they would have picked up the fifth-year option, and if they wanted to do an extension, they would have done the extension prior to actually paying it out. But those are my quick thoughts, man. Last thing or two I will get into here before I bring on the fans. Let's see. The Steelers are expected, and let me actually bring it up here. I got it on the screen so I can give you the actual numbers. What did I do with it? Seem to have lost it. But anyway, guys, I remember the Steelers, part of the reason why now, we know what Kevin Colbert said, why they were willing to move up, well, basically move into the 5th round, and they took Loudermilk. Now, whether you agree with that pick or not, that's up for you to debate. But why they did it was, and I mentioned it the other night when I said, well, I'm pretty sure, they're expecting a compensatory pick in the next round. Kevin Colbert came out and said that in his interview, right after the draft. And then he said it again today talking to Stan Severin on the radio. He basically said, actually, I might even have the quote here. If I don't, forgive me, but I can paraphrase. Yeah, I have it here, so I'll read it to you guys. It says as follows. Yes, I think Pat Freiermuth's case. He was someone we valued in that round. Colbert told the show. We thought this was a player that would fit that pick. The depth of the tight end wasn't as good as the offensive line. And again, I think we said it prior to the draft. This was an unusually deep group at center. It was an even more unusually deep at offensive tackle. So in the taking Pat Freiermuth, we valued him right where, he said we valued him there regardless of depth. In other positions, we would have taken him, but in the back of our mind, we also knew that there may be an opportunity for an offensive line succeeding the rounds. Now, some of you guys may be asking, why did I read that? I'm going to be honest with you. I got my subjects crossed, but it all it all blends together. Look, it's live, man. Y'all, listen, that's why y'all love me, right, man? I make mistakes right on camera. But anyway, it all bleeds together. So let me go back to what I said about Colbert as far as the compensatory pick. And then I'll get back to what Colbert said. Basically, the Steelers are looking at receiving a 3rd-round pick, and I actually have it here on my phone. They're looking to receive a 3rd-round pick for Bud Dupree and also a 5th-round pick for Matt Fowler, and that's what's expected right now. So, going back to what I was trying to say before I blurred the lines in those two topics, basically Kevin Colbert did say as much that they didn't have a problem giving away a 4th for next year to get into the 5th, to take somebody that they identified, and Loudermilk, they're high on him because they knew they was going to get compensation next year. So remember I said that draft night when me and Kenyon did the show, I was like, look, man, they're probably going to get a pick somewhere. I'm not upset at that. I just didn't want to give away any picks in this year's draft because we got a lot of holes to fill. So bottom line, I definitely agree with that assessment. There you are. So if we get a 3rd and we get a 5th, then great. Okay, we're still in good shape. Now, back to the point that I twisted up in that I wanted to talk about Kevin Colbert's draft plans. And I'm going to be really brief here, man, and I'll get on out of here and get some phone calls in. Listen, this is exactly what I said draft night when we took Najee. Kenyon and I came back on the next night and said the same thing after we did get the offensive lineman. Then we came back the next night when we did the recap of the entire draft after we had gotten a 2nd offensive lineman. And basically, Kevin Colbert has told us this much. He told us this from the beginning of the draft, right? And I put out that clip earlier today of me and Kenyon talking after the pick, basically saying this is why we drafted Najee. And this is what I was saying all along. We don't have to agree with who they drafted, where they drafted, what round they drafted in. You don't have to agree with any of that. We all are fans, right? And we all have our attachment to certain players, and we all try to have an attachment to the team and, give our assessment on what we think is best for the team. We all do that. And it's cool. It's great that we do that. But at the end of the day, is like I said on the show, draft night, you got to trust in the organization. Even if you don't agree with them, they have a plan, and the plan was clear. Like I said, you can't pass a Najee Harris. Maybe some of us would have, but you just can't. A player of that magnitude, it's hard to pass up a guy like that. Especially in your mind going into the draft, you're thinking to yourself, look, we know we need offensive line help. The class is deep. Are we going to get the grade A guy? Maybe not. Are we going to get the grade B guy? Maybe not possible. But are we going to get a solid guy and a C+ C status that we can build up to be a B or an A? Yeah, that guy will be there. Case in point, Kendrick Green looks like a guy that could turn into a real value pick. Looks like it to me. Now, the other guy, Dan Moore Jr., don't know too much about him, but I did watch film. I've watched 2 games now of Texas A&M where I've got a chance to look at him and Buddy Johnson, so I might as well watch the whole game, right? Offense and defense. I'm going to have to find some games where Moore looked bad in, because I'll tell you this much, what I can see from him early. Seems pretty steady. Picks up his blocks well, and I know that's cliche to say, right, on the offensive line, but I didn't notice, too many guys just outright beating him in 2 games, only 2 games. But I did notice that it seems like he doesn't have that initial punch so much. So he's not one of those guys that's kind of on the attack from the offensive line standpoint, even in pass protection. And I think some of you guys know what I mean by that. Of course, in reality, you stand up and get into your stance and what have you, get into your squat or what have you. But what I'm saying, I didn't really see a lot of punch from him or him, getting his off first. It did seem like he's more so of the, the catch and protect type of guy. So that might get him into trouble when you're, dealing with some high level pass rushes with counter moves and things like that. TBD. But from what I saw just in the 2 games, he looks like a, pretty solid, serviceable tackle. More than likely going to be a backup to start out because, again, pecking order right now is Chooks. And I agree with you guys. Tackle is a question mark right now in terms of how good the left tackle will be. But I'm just trying to give you a glimpse into what the Steelers were thinking. They feel like they have a decent enough offensive line because there's new faces now, some in new positions. Picked up a guy in Kendrick Green who is going to be starting, coming out right out the gate as the center. So right there, if you just look at that interior 3, you got a mean streak in Kendrick Green. That boy, he's a finisher, right? You got Kevin Dotson, who a lot of us are saying that we think he's going to emerge. We know he's a mauler. And you got David DeCastro. And at the tackle spots, we'll see how they hold up. Banner probably will do well at right tackle, but, we're going to have to see what we got in left tackle. So sometimes you take that gamble. But I can understand why the Steelers said, well, let's get the premier running back first. Then we'll come back later and we'll grab an offensive lineman. And like I said, man, like Colbert said here, he basically said, and I'll kind of paraphrase it again. He says, listen, the reason why we took Freiermuth where we did is because we still felt like there was a lot of value, an unusual amount of value and depth at offensive line. So what do you come out with? You come out with arguably the best running back in the draft. And, if I'm saying arguably, because y'all know I love Najee, but I love Javonte Williams. Y'all know that was my guy. But it's not like I'm upset because we went with Najee. I mean, listen, I said this a few weeks ago. Najee is Le'Veon 2.0. His size, I think he's probably a little faster than Le'Veon was. He's not a burner, but I think he's still faster than Le'Veon Bell was. Nimble, agile, patient, can catch out the backfield. He's showing good pass pro already. It's hard to leave. Let me explain it to you guys like this. We love Javonte. Me and Kenyon did. Some of you guys did as well. I love Trey Sermon. Okay, on a lesser degree, if you're talking about later projections. ETN, I wouldn't have been upset with that, but I kind of prefer more of the Najee, Javonte Williams type of style over ETN for us. But here's the thing. When you think about that dude's size, man, just everything that he can do. And when you think about what the Steelers like in a bell cow type of back, it's just hard for you to think that they was going to pass on Najee Harris in the first round. And we know, traditionally you don't go running back in the first round. We know all of the cliches, but come on, man. Come on. So if anybody is surprised by that, and I know what you all are going to say, yeah, but we could have got a running back later. Yeah, maybe. I'm just trying to speak. I'm always speaking from the Steelers standpoint, not what I want. Because call me crazy. I might have taken Javonte Williams if I'm drafting in the first round anyway, because of what I liked about him. And I don't want to slight Najee, because some people think when I talk about Williams, I'm saying, no, I didn't want Najee. No, thank you, Najee. Let's go. But it was just something about Williams' demeanor. You know, y'all know I told y'all that before. It just touched me, man. Like, that dude, one man ain't tackling him, bruh. And don't get me wrong, I think Najee gonna be a beast for us, but I'm just saying, I just saw something in Williams, man. I was just like, whoa. So I might have been the crazy GM that would have took him in the first over Najee. But speaking from a Steelers standpoint, I know exactly why they went with Najee. And I'm happy they took him at the end of the day. And Freiermuth, again, we need a tight end. This dude is projected to be, he was like the second tight. I mean, come on. So again, from a business standpoint, when you're thinking that it's extremely deep, where you could get offensive line and they went with 2 offensive linemen, all I'm saying is I get why they picked who they picked and when they picked them. That's all. The only other things I will say really quick, man, and I'll save it, maybe for next week so I can, really have some time to dive in. But a couple guys, man, that I got my eye on for sure. Buddy Johnson and Shakur Brown, man. Let me tell you something, man. Listen, we'll see what happens with Trey Norwood. You would expect the Steelers got their eyes on him if they drafted him. But let me tell you something. I see a little Mike Hilton and Shakur Brown, man. I watched 2 games so far at Michigan State. Man. Yeah. Scrappy. He's not a speedy guy at all. I think he ran like a 4.6, but I don't know if you really have to be that in the slot. He's definitely going to be a slot. And that's all I'm looking at him as, is just being Mike Hilton. That's all I'm looking for, is him being Mike Hilton. And I think he has the tools to do that. And again, I'm not trying to say I'm taking him over Norwood. I gotta look at Norwood. I gotta see what he's all about. But I'm just happened to watch Michigan State first. Yeah, Brown might be a sneaky pickup. And Roche as well might have been potentially one of the better steals in this draft for the Steelers. We'll see. But like I said, next week, man, I'll come back and kind of give you guys my assessment on who's emerging in my eyes as, the most valued pick or what have you. But all right, man, it's time for some phone calls. Listen, guys, that's the title of the show. Steeler fans react to the draft picks. Keep them coming. Call in. And y'all know the routine. Be modest of everybody else. Don't try to take all the time. Try to be in and out as you can, just not too long. That's all. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get this thing started, man. Let me see how many calls we got in queue. And again, for anybody who may be driving or not watching, the actual screen and able to see the phone number, if you want to call in, it is area code 619-924-0818. Let's do it. First up in the queue, we got area code 443. What's going on tonight?
What's going on with you, Sim? How you, sir?
Good. How you doing, man?
Pretty good, man. It's Sire, man. I'm the gentleman that be emailing you because I don't have a Twitter or Instagram or anything like that. I'm an old school guy, so I'm the one that be emailing you. But I emailed you.
Oh no, that's good.
I emailed you hoping that you would get the email, and I don't know if you did or not. But to make things short, man, like you said, the fans need to relax. Everything you said was 100. Shout out to Kenyon, because everything you and Kenyon said is on point. Shout out to the young ladies that's in the chat that did the steel table with you. All of them be on point as well. People just need to relax, man, and everything will work itself out. Real quick, the UDAs, the UDF that we got, Brown definitely going to be a steal. Lamont Wade, who I know personally, I know his family out of Penn State. He's going to be a great pickup. As long as he keeps his head level, he can be a Mike Hilton for us. And then I'll end it with this, man. I'll read something that Cam Hayward said. For all you fair weather that always got a problem with what the Steelers do. Everyone claims to be a general manager until they don't choose who you thought. Relax. Players will prove who will be good and not the damn mock draft. Have a good night, Sam, and thank you for the call, man.
Man, you're very welcome. And yeah, I did get your email, man. I got it like right as the show was, close to starting. So I was like, yeah, I'm sure he's going to call, because you said you was going to call in the email. But and just so you know, and anybody else, sometimes, man, I'll read emails or whatever, and my intentions are to reply, and I might forget. So definitely, I hope you guys always know if I don't reply back, it's not because I'm just on some, nah, that ain't me. I'm going to try to reply if I can, but sometimes life happens and I honestly forget. And I know most of the time I'm going to see y'all on the show. So, but I meant to hit you back, man. My bad on that. But yeah, I loved what Cam Hayward said. I saw that when he had posted it, and that's the truth. I mean, we all guilty of it. Only thing I just be trying to bring to the table is, man, you after they pick, then you just assess the situation. That's it. I don't do the whole, the Steelers are so stupid and blah. I don't do that. I got to trust the process. And if it don't work, then we can talk about it. If Mason Rudolph turns out to be what a lot of y'all think that he's going to be, then we'll say, yeah, that wasn't a good pick. But we move on. We don't, because honestly, let's be fair really quick, and I don't want to be so long on the explanations, but let's be fair, right? Mason Rudolph turns into a bust. We go back and look at who they could have potentially drafted at that time. Is it a guarantee to work? It's always speculation, so you just have to accept who they draft and move on. But all right, thanks for the call, man. Let's move on to the next one. Area 803, which I believe is Mr. Winningham. How you doing this evening, sir?
Good evening, brother. How you doing? And good evening to everybody out there.
Doing good.
First of all, I'd like to thank Kenyon and those young ladies that gave us plenty of insight on everything that was covering the draft. Again, ladies, y'all blew me away. I loved it. Getting on the draft, we got a lot of new guys I have to familiarize myself with, especially with names. But I see that one thing about the Steelers, we draft guys who almost sometimes mimic the guys who we already have on our staff. Kendrick Green reminds you of Pouncey. Laudermilk looks like a reincarnation of Cam Hayward, So, those things that we have to look at. I was glad we drafted a tight end to help our short yardage game. I wish that we would have kept, given the 5th-year option to the young man. It slips my mind right now. Names are slipping my mind right now tonight. But because it was
Edmunds.
a very low risk thing. Edmunds, to give him a 5th-year option. It's not, we weren't putting a high risk thing, and he wasn't declining like in Artie Burns. And lastly, like I said, we got the tight end. We could go out and get the young man who we had before that went to Detroit Lions, or Hayden Hurst, who did not get a 5th-year option with the Atlanta Falcons. Maybe they're willing to trade him, or they might let him go. We need those double tight end sets to match up with the Clevelands and the Baltimores and maybe Cincinnati's. Their offense is a little different. But thank you so much. I hope everybody enjoyed the draft, and I hope everybody has a great week.
Yes, sir, man. Thank you for calling, Mr. Winningham. Always appreciate that. And I'm glad he mentioned what he said, as well as 443 about the ladies in the chat, man. I have told y'all did a phenomenal job. Mr. Winningham actually emailed me, just so y'all know, directly, and just wanted to let me know how well you all did. So I definitely want to share that love with you all. Fully agree with him on this front, man, as far as the 2 tight end sets. I'm excited about Freiermuth, but Eric Ebron still can't block that well. So it is one of those things, are we going to be in a situation where we're still reporting somebody as eligible when we want to go heavy like that, or even, the 2 tight end sets that we plan to run out of? So, yeah, why not get Jesse James? I think we still got Radar on the practice squad, and, Gentry's on the roster, but Gentry not going to give you much either, from a blocking standpoint, run game standpoint. So we shall see. Let's move on to the next caller. Area code 313. What you got for us?
Hey, what's going on, Sam?
Nothing much. How you doing?
This is Mr. Duke. Yeah, this is Mr. Duke from Detroit. I was just, just chiming in a little bit about the Steelers in the draft. being a Steelers fan for over 45 years, watching. And just to, to put on everything on point, dealing with people in the draft picks and want offensive linemen in the first round. Looking at the history when we had drafted linemen, a lot of the best linemen for the Steelers, besides Pouncey and DeCastro, everybody else was coming either further back in the draft, just like Dotson is, what round he came in. Even when we had Kevin Beecham, he was starting, and the different ones. When guys we took in the higher rounds didn't work out, but the guys in the backside worked out fine. So even like Damani Dawson and players like that, they were third-round picks, just like we just got Mr. Green. So you just got to be patient, and you're right, trust the process. The process is we ain't going to know what nobody's going to do all the way on that field until they start putting on them pass and they start popping, and we get the practice reports, and then we can make a judgment on what we have. Because a lot of times when you think you got somebody that's going to be good, they don't pan out. I remember his name was Ferris from UCLA. He was like a second-round pick. He dropped off real fast. We had Sample. He was drafted in the first round from, I think, North Carolina, Chattanooga. He fell down. And you know what I'm saying? So you can get the linemen anywhere, but until they start playing, that's when you're going to know you got the chalk. I like the guys we got, and just trust the process. And as far as Najee Harris, the best game I saw last year was LSU, Alabama, where him and Clyde Edwards-Helaire put on one of the best running back shows in that game, bro. That's what I was like, we can use that guy, and he's more than one-dimensional. He's a three-down back, and that is a first-round pick. I don't care in what draft you're talking about. That's all I got for you guys. Y'all have a blessed one, and go Steelers. Take care.
Oh, my bad, guys. I must have myself on mute, trying to be quiet. But yes, thank you for the call. And you got to pay attention to one of the things that he said there. Yeah, you look back, man, a lot of the offensive linemen were brought up in later rounds. You know, and that's one thing I've noticed with offensive linemen. It seems like it doesn't always have to be the top tier guy. You know what I'm saying? The guys could even be undrafted. You know, UDFA come in. So I get it. Again, we know the process. We know how the draft works. Everything is based on projections. We all are like that. We all project who we would take in the first, second, yada, yada, yada. But I just encourage, don't be so down on a pick until you see what they are. You know, especially when you're saying, oh, well, Jenkins was better at that spot and Creed Humphrey was better. Okay, projected-wise, yeah. But we may have found something in Kendrick Green. We'll see. So, fully agree with that, man. 100%. Thanks for the call. Let's move on to the next one. Area code 651. What you got for us?
What's up, Sam? How you doing, man?
Good. What's going on?
Not much, man. With the first pick, you know, there's nothing to talk about there. We know what we got. I was really shocked on the tight end. But then I thought about it, how long have we been looking for that type of tight end in the last few years? We've been looking for a while since he left. And we're a hard-nosed tight end type of team. We're not the Ferrari tight end. We're like a guy that get in there and block, take some hits because he's going to catch some balls in some bad spots. Green, nasty. I mean, just a filthy center, man, and we needed that. And I ended up seeing that him and Dotson and the tackle that we just got all practice together in the offseason, so they all know each other. So I like the tackle. He seems a little more finesse tackle to me. I keep hearing everybody say he's nasty. I don't see it yet. Maybe it's something he can develop. I don't know. I think we did a pretty good job with the draft. Loudermilk, that's the other thing. This guy's Big Dan. You know, what we thought we had in Big Dan, and something that I don't think anybody really thought about was, if you look at his tape, he bats a lot of balls down. I don't know why Big Dan couldn't do that. You can't get to the pass and put your hands up. You like 800 feet tall. Like, I don't understand how you missed that. But he knows how to use his hands, man. So that's a pretty good deal. So I think we're on our way, man. All right.
Thanks for the call, man. Woo, man, you just you just brought back a bad memory, and bad in meaning that it didn't pan out. I thought Big Dan was about to be a defensive furniture mover, if you understand what I'm saying. I thought this dude was about to be a bull rush specialist. Y'all remember Big Dan, man? Wow. Dan McCullers just never quite panned out. And yeah, why won't he knock him more balls down? Come on, I'm not expecting him to be Calais Campbell, but you know what I mean? You that big, but wow. But yeah, guys, we're gonna grab a few more of these calls. But I just saw something in the chat. I want to hear you guys debate this or agree with it. Shout out to Gregory Thomas. He says he's speaking to Kenyon. He says, "Hey, my question was for all those Bell." He said, "For all those Bell was the man people. D'Angelo Williams ran better at 30 years old behind the line." I'll give you this. D'Angelo Williams, he did a great job filling in for Bell. Now, if you're just going to go to the statistics during a short amount of time, I don't know if we can always do that. It's just like, when James Conner, when he took over for Bell that season, we were saying he has more of this, he has more of that. He was not better than Le'Veon Bell. If we talk about a whole stretch of a season. So I get it. In short term, maybe. But again, like I said, go back to the first season. James Conner was the starter after Le'Veon Bell, and he was doing really, really good at first. I still don't care. Le'Veon Bell still was the better running back. Just my opinion, and I respect yours. Next caller, area code 214. What you got for us?
Hey, Sam, this is Brent Fox, man. It was a long-time subscriber, first-time caller.
Oh, man, thanks for calling, man. Appreciate it. What's going on?
I think everybody else took all my material, man, so I'll be quick. I think that I'm very optimistic about this particular draft. I did look up Kendrick Green. I also watched some film on Najee, a little bit more film on Najee, and I'm confident that we'll do well offensively. That'll help keep the defensive guys off the field, and we may not have to worry so much about coverage issues with our linebackers and things of that nature. Thanks for having me on, Sam.
Oh, man, no problem. Thanks for calling, man. Appreciate that, Brent. Yeah, I know you do watch a lot because Brent a lot of times leaves comments, man. So I appreciate you calling in for the first time. And like I say to all of you guys, man, floor is definitely open. Anytime y'all want to call in, please do. I would love to get to a point where the show literally is me talking for maybe 15 minutes or so, and the rest of the time is just phone calls because it's a family affair here. Next up, area code 202. What you got for us?
Hey, what's up, Sam? How you doing?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Just obviously calling to give my thoughts on the draft. Me personally, I feel a little bit more pessimistic, but it's not necessarily all because of the draft. But my biggest thing was, I feel like in order for this draft to be a success, especially with like how they invested their resources in the first round pick, like I really feel like the Steelers need to modernize their offense. And it's funny, I think it was Jason Winningham that called. He was just talking about using 2 tight end sets more, and that's something that I completely agree with. It's so my first point was going to be like, what is the point of drafting a running back if we're not going to use like 12 personnel and actually try to craft a successful running attack? Like a lot of the teams that have successful running attacks, they use a lot of 12 personnel. Like look at the Saints, what they did with Drew Brees. Think about Ryan Tannehill, the 49ers, heck, a team in our own division, Baker Mayfield and the Browns. You know what I'm saying? They use a lot of 12 personnel, and they were killing us the last 2 games of the season. You know what I mean? So it's like I really, and the person who I really feel like this reflects a lot on is the quarterback. Like for so long we've heard like, oh, like he doesn't like play action. He can't see the field when he doesn't like having his back to the line when he has to hike the ball from under center. It's like that has to change. You know what I mean? If this team actually wants to build a successful running game. And the last stat that I'll leave you with is we ran play action 9% of the time. That was last in the league. We were the only team under 20%. Like that is awful. That is just god awful. And that has to change. And it's and lastly, with the Najee Harris pick, like I would have preferred to try to take a tackle or a lineman Because it's like, if you just look in our division, like, we've had some stalwart tackles. Like, think about Ogden or Joe Thomas, and now we have Ronnie Stanley and Jedrick Wills. Like, just think about those dudes are going to be playing in our division for 10, 11, 12 years. And it's like Najee Harris probably not going to be on the team past age 27, 28. So those are my thoughts. And yeah, hope you're doing well.
Yeah, man, definitely thank you for the call. And, I always appreciate different opinions, those who may not be as excited. Good points. I will say this. What you said about modernizing the offense, very, very valid point. But the only thing I would say to that is I think we all have to be on a wait and see when it comes to that. Matt Canada is the new offensive coordinator. So it's hard to criticize the draft picks from an offensive standpoint before we even know that. Like, okay, this is the offense he's trying to run. Then I think we can come back and say, wait a minute, that guy didn't fit that. This guy doesn't fit that. Or we might be saying, oh, okay, I see why they went in that direction. It's rumored right now that they saying Matt Canada, maybe trying to install outside zone, more, zone run type of offense. So I would just say, yeah, we got to wait and see. We got to wait and see before we can really give our thoughts on that. But your thoughts are valid as far as, yeah, we got to do something different with the offense. We really do. And we're hoping that Matt Canada not only brings that to the table. I think Kenyon outlined that well last week. I don't think there should be a concern about what he's going to be looking to do. The only concern is Ben Roethlisberger. How much of the vision that Matt Canada has will he be able to pull off with Ben Roethlisberger? So that is still a question mark. But yeah, I think you'll see some changes. And like I said, I mean, we can all agree or disagree on who the picks should have been. I'm just saying, from a business standpoint, it's very hard for a team to let a generational talent projected like Najee Harris just slip through your fingers when you think the offensive line is deep. And that's it. Like, it doesn't even have to get no more clearer than that. Like, we don't have to concern ourselves with saying, why did they do this? Why did they do that? When they clearly told us why. You see what I'm saying? They clearly said why they went the direction they went in. We know we can get better at the offensive line. We know we can get depth and quality at the offensive line later. We're going to take our chances and roll the dice with this premier talent. And that's all it is. So, but, I don't disagree with anyone saying that we should have taken an offensive lineman first. Clearly don't disagree with that. I don't disagree with anyone saying that we should have taken an offensive line, a lineman in the second round. I don't disagree with that either. I don't disagree with none of our philosophies, whether, we're on the boat for waiting and getting a running back later, or we're on the boat for waiting and getting the tight end later, whatever the case may be. All I'm saying is at this point, we don't even have to debate it because Kevin Colbert told us exactly why they did what they did. So let's now just see how it pans out. Looks like those are all the calls, man. I'm surprised, man. I thought it would be many more calls tonight. So, we still got a little time here. I'll sit in the chat and kick it with you guys a little bit. Let me see what y'all got. Fire your way. I gotta look past the mic stand. The mic arm here. Build His Life says, I think Ben's knees are shot. That's why he's not doing any play action and staying in the shotgun, and he works best seeing and reading the pre-snap versus doing the play. Could have a point there. I don't think Ben has really ever been the most cerebral guy in terms of reading coverage, yada, yada, yada. And I'm sure Ben can read coverage, pre-snap and things like that. And I'm sure there's a level of him reading reading the action. But, has he ever really been known for being the Peyton Manning type of quarterback? Maybe not. I think that's fair to say that. Justin Bozeman says, still hate picking a running back in the first round. Yes, they got a couple linemen, but they could have gotten a day one starter and 2 line positions. I mean, listen, it's fair. I don't think anybody is wrong here. But we always have to look at this as what we thought would have happened, right? That's it. That's it. I mean, there's no guarantees at all with how those linemen would have turned out. I mean, I'm just saying. So I don't disagree, but I don't disagree. But I will say this. What I try to do is strip away my feelings when I try to give an assessment, because here's the thing, right? Let's say we would have taken one of those tackles. Let's be open and honest. Let's have a real conversation all here together as family, right? We take one of those tackles in the first round, and he turned out to be a bust. What would be y'all's thoughts? What would be your comments? 8, 9, 10 games into the season where he's given up 10 sacks. Seriously. Dig deep within your soul and tell me what your thoughts would be if that were to happen. It's going to be the same thoughts that you're going to have if 9, 10 games into the season, Najee Harris has only rushed for 400 yards. It's going to be the same. Right? It's going to be the same. That's what I'm saying. That's why I don't spend so much time in being pissed off and ticked off about, because most of the time, if you're being honest with yourself, it's results driven. It's results bias. Now, honestly, I have, it's been hard to do. I'm going to be honest with y'all. It's been hard to do, but I have learned how to marry my fanism with my assessments. Right? So I've learned how to manifest those together, where I'm still the super fan that wants what I want, but I can see it from a different side. And it has helped tremendously when I, approach and assess the situation. Who you talking about, Real Facts? He says, I don't know, man. I see the size and speed, but I just don't see this generation talent. Hey, but I could be wrong. Who are you referring to, Najee? Lane Pollard says we should have taken Najee. What up, Tony? Tony in the building. Ali says getting the number 1 pick at any position works for me at any time in the draft. There you go. There you go. Builder's Life says Roche versus Highsmith. The job will come down to an all-around player. Remember, run stopping and coverage matters too. Highsmith is definitely going to be the starter going in, though. Roche is going to have to take it from Highsmith. And honestly, if he can do that, I ain't mad. That only means we have quality depth, right? From 1 to 3. So we'll see. Why Diggy says, I'm watching highlights of the Illinois versus Wisconsin game. I felt Green popped the screen more than Loudermilk, but Loudermilk did have a series where he showed up behind the line and caused havoc. Okay. Guys, please, man, if y'all, listen, anybody that finds footage, and not so much highlights, but whether it's an all defensive snap cut up or full games of Illinois, please send them to me. Please. Send them to me on Twitter. You can put them in the chat here. Send them to SimFBallCritic@gmail.com. I can't seem to find nothing worth watching. Like I can't find enough content. I may have been able to find like 2 all defensive snaps, but I mean all offensive snaps. Excuse me, Illinois. I need offense, not defense. But I can't seem to find them. Harris won't be on this team in 4 and 5 years. Bad pick. Okay. Hey, man, listen, I'm not going to disagree with anybody's opinion. I'm just not. Everybody feels differently. So you're not going to get me to cave and go heavily on my opinion or go heavily on yours. I just enjoy all of the different thought processes. Mac for you 2K6 says Tevin Jenkins about to block for Justin Fields in Chicago for a decade. Yeah, that probably happens. So let me ask y'all this. Serious question. A lot of you guys you're adding the years to. You guys are adding the years to the pick. So I want to ask you guys this question. So going into this draft, are you guys telling me that all of you wanted us to get a career-long offensive lineman, whether that be tackle or center? That was your primary objective? I'm just asking. There's no intention behind that. I'm just asking. Because it seems like everyone who's saying that the pick was bad they're saying it because you're saying that this guy's only going to be there for 4 to 5 years or what have you. But I just want to, check the temperature and see what you guys are really saying. Yeah, I saw that. I saw and shout outs to him, man, if he happens to come across this video, Offseason Productions. He does great work over there. But again, it's not, he's doing basically what I've done during the season on Terrible Towel. Like he's analyzing plays, which is great, right? To see what a guy is. But sometimes, and blame Kenya for this, I want to see the entirety of all of their snaps or in the full game or what have you, so I can kind of see, learn what this guy is and isn't each and every play. Come on, what y'all got, man? Give it to me. Give it to me. What y'all got, man? Y'all ain't got no comments. Jordan Mid says if Harris turns out, I want all of the other fans to keep this same energy. I mean, I think everybody can agree though that Harris. I mean, the likelihood of him retiring the Steeler is low. For running backs, the likelihood of it being like a Barry Sanders situation where he either retires earlier than expected, or you get a solid 7 years or so. I can't remember exactly how many years Barry played, maybe 8, or Jim Brown back in the day. The likelihood of that happening, maybe not. But like I said, it all comes down to what each person values as the best pick, the bad pick. You know what I mean? Mike says, if Darisaw fell one more spot, you think we still pick Najee? That's a great point. That's a great point, guys. You have to look at that side of things too. How did the Steelers value these guys? That's all I'm saying. And I don't ever want nobody to think that I'm disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing with anybody, but what I'm saying is, when I'm on this side of the table in terms of the way I think, again, I put my fanism to the side and I marry it with objectively looking at it from a business standpoint. I try to always think about, what are the Steelers going to do? What would the Steelers do in this situation? And that's the thing. We don't know where the Steelers value these guys. That's what you have to think about. You don't have to agree with them, but you have no idea where they value these players on their board. And like my man just said there, maybe Darisaw was a dude that they thought, oh, if he's there, I'm just saying. And we'll never know that. That's my point. We'll never know that. So me personally, the way I handle it, I give my little 2 cents and I move on. But some people will dwell on this for years, right? Let's say Najee Harris, for whatever reason, doesn't work out, or he leaves the Steelers after 5 years. Some people will come back and see, that's why we shouldn't have picked him. People are always going to hold on to that. But you can find that situation happening on almost every single NFL team has experienced something like that. Every one of them. And if you really think about it, the Steelers are in a position, if you think about it from a running back standpoint, right? Even if you want to use your year analogy, they're in a position where they can extend this thing out as long as they want. For the most part, you get your 4 years, you put the 5th year option on them, then you tag them, You get 6 years out of him, and then at that time, what is he, 29? Close to 30? You get the value if he's productive. So it's one of those things. Now, if you're going to say that you should never draft a running back in the first round, that's fair. That's fair. But if you're not looking at it from that standpoint, if you're just saying, well, I wouldn't have taken Najee, and you're not opposed to taking a running back in the first, then it's like the debate is a little more than, well, I don't know. Does he not look like he could end up being an incredible running back? Does he not look like the type of guy that can produce the way Le'Veon Bell produced? I think so. Again, I'm not necessarily saying they should have taken him in the first. I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Got to look at it like that. What else y'all got, man? Reggie Gilbert says, go with the short talent in the first couple rounds. Ben's getting old, and our window is about to be closed. That's another thing. Thank you, Reggie. Round of applause to you. The reason why I'm giving round of applause right there, that's the number one thing I think a lot of you guys are not thinking about. It's clear that Art Rooney, Kevin Colbert, and those guys who make the big time decisions, they're trying to win a Super Bowl with Ben Roethlisberger. And that was the reason why I asked you guys, were y'all going into this draft looking to get the 10-year veteran offensive lineman? This probably not the draft to think that way, because they're trying to do what they can do to win now with Ben Roethlisberger and a premier running back. Hopefully a solid running game would help that to happen if it's going to happen. Y'all know my beliefs on that. But that's why I said start thinking from the Steelers standpoint and not just what we want. Mike Adams says, I think Najee is a good pick. It is up to the Steelers to find creative ways to have our offensive line block for Najee like they did for Bell. There you go, man. I feel you on that. Mr. Ab says, look, Sim, fans believe they are GMs. The Steelers pick and plan for the betterment of the organization. Who they choose is based on who they see work with every day. We not shooting in the gym. Facts, man. That's facts. But, it's always fun to have these conversations. But when I really started realizing that stuff, man, I really cooled off on the decision-making by the organization. You know what I mean? What else y'all got? Give me a couple more before I'm out of here. Brother Tony says, man, if he turned out to be like that lotto stud in Tennessee, I want you guys to come back in the chat and praise Colbert. You ain't never lied. If he anything close to what Derrick Henry is, would be special, wouldn't it? But yeah, man, that's all I got. I don't really have much to add. Steelers Baby said, those same people who saying Minkah was a bad trade is the same people saying Harris was a bad pick. Shout outs to Steelers Baby. Yeah, man. Listen, and, I don't know exactly if it's the same people, but it's real. We saw this, didn't we? Remember all of the people? Listen, I tell y'all, I don't often forget. And Kenyon and Tony a lot of times can remember a few more things because they always watching the chat. I'm just, every now and then popping over there. But we don't really forget. We remember who comments. Y'all notice how I a lot of times recognize names and stuff. I remember people who won't for that pick. I remember y'all sitting in here tonight. Just, to take off some of the suspense. Some of y'all are in here right now. The y'all was not in favor of that pick. Now, again, I'm not saying it was worth a first and all that jazz, but what I'm saying is I knew why they did it and where they did it. And, what they just did, last week, shows you exactly why the value was there. Picking up the 5th-year option. So we essentially got Minkah for 4 years. That was our first-round draft pick. We needed a safety. We have a solid safety now. Whatever you feel about Minkah is still a very solid free safety. And that's why they did what they did. Might not have made sense, but, that same year when he was turning the ball over like crazy, I ain't see nobody saying nothing. So you just sit back and enjoy it, man. Let's, again, if guys turn out to be bad, we're gonna rip that too. We'll definitely come back and say, man, that just didn't pan out. But I'm not gonna say, because I'm not the general manager, I'm not the scouts, I'm not in the organization. What I'm not gonna say is something was a bad pick. The reason why is because I feel like these people are professionals. They see something that I don't see. Sometimes I disagree. But they see something that I don't see. Y'all want a perfect example of when I just didn't understand what the Steelers were doing? We lost Ryan Shazier. Who did they bring in to play? Y'all remember? You guys remember who they brought in? And we were getting killed against the run? Sean Spence. I did not understand that whatsoever. Why? But respectfully, I would say that they knew something I didn't know. Maybe the decision to bring him in was the fact that how late it was in the season and he's familiar with our system, and I'm sure that was why. I'm sure they didn't do it because of a talent level. Clearly, because if that was because of a talent level, he would have never left our team. He was cheap. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes the organization do what they do because of business reasons, or they have to, or they rather go with familiarity and hope the guy succeeds. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I don't often question the front office. I can disagree with him and wholeheartedly disagree. Especially seeing that we needed a tight end for many years and George Kittle was sitting right out there when we drafted Josh Dobbs. Man, oh man, oh man. But again, they had their reasons. Brett Fox says, well, I'll be the first to admit I wanted Javonte Williams, but I'm over it. I'm excited about Najee and the offensive line at this point. Yeah, me too. I mean, I think anybody who listened to me on a consistent basis, weekly, y'all knew I was a big fan of Javonte Williams. That was my guy. Like I said, to me, it's like 1A, 1B. In no way am I upset that we took Najee instead of him. Because, again, Najee just give you – Kenyon to tell you, even as we got closer to the draft, I just kept texting Kenyon. I was like, yo, 6'2", 230. That's just hard to come by. And the way he plays, it's hard to pass on that. But I had and still do, big-time love for Javonte Williams, man. That was my dude right there. Let's see. I'll read two more of these. Sippy Boy says, the only person I really run at 24 over Najee was Zaven Collins, and he was gone. Yeah. Facts. Christopher Ernest says, Roche is more polished than Highsmith coming out. I can agree with you with that. I still like Highsmith's natural pass rush ability. Seeing a little bit of that out of Roche as well, but honestly, I haven't honed in on his film. It's just, when you watch enough film and you're watching other players and you see guys make plays, you kind of look at them and say, oh, who's that? And I do remember seeing him, but now that I'm focused on him, and, to be determined as far as my thoughts on him, but yeah. All right, man, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it here, man. I think this was a outstanding show. Like I said, I expected way more phone calls. You guys were kind of quiet tonight, but, decent amount of calls. I just wanted to give everybody an opportunity to share their thoughts on, their thoughts on what the Steelers did and, more to come. And, man, and hopefully, the world, well, I don't want to say it seems to be stabilizing because, it's still a crisis going on right now. But I know, a lot of places things are starting to relax some and, even the CDC are just telling people who are fully vaccinated that they can go outside without masks and stuff. And I just hope that it continues to trend downward. And I say all that to say this, selfishly saying it, I hope we're able to, for number one, get back to some type of normalcy for our own lives, but also in this thing that we cherish, our entertainment. Hopefully the rookie mini camps and things like that kick off the way they're supposed to, and we can really start hearing some things, and hopefully training camp works out kind of similar to what we're normally accustomed to, and we can start hearing, at this point now, it's about it's about being excited. You know what I'm saying? It's only May 4th though, so we still got some lull periods. So, I'll try to find some things that we can really talk about in between time. Maybe we'll just, maybe some shorter shows will come out where we're just focusing on one player or something like that. We'll see how it goes, man. But like I said, as of right now, I still need to watch Roche. I still need to watch Trey Norwood. I've watched a little bit of Shakur Brown. Like what I'm seeing out of him. I've watched Buddy Johnson. I like what I see out of him. Dude sticks his nose in there as a linebacker. He has some block shed ability around the ball. Doesn't look like he's going to give you much in the coverage game, which, it's hard to find a linebacker that can do that and do it well. But he looks like a guy, man, that, UG3 needs to put his best foot forward when it's camp time. But outside of that, I haven't looked at any of the other UDFAs other than Shakur Brown. So, hopefully I'll have a better report for you guys come next week. But that's going to do it. Let me see if there's anything else out here. Anything I might need to respond to. Oh, Kenyon and some other folks, y'all going back and forth. Okay. Oh, man. Yeah, they said somebody wanted Asante in the first at 24. But all right, man, let me go ahead and get out of here, man. Y'all be good. As always, stay safe, stay blessed. Thanks for coming through. Like always, man, I'm going to remind you guys, boom, right there, man. Please do that. It's very simple. If you like what you like, you like what you saw here, and you like that, why did I say like so many times? My bad. Subscribe and hit the like button. Cut on the notifications so then you know when I am here. But all right, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Y'all be good. Until next time. Peace.